Aaron Rodgers, 2-year stint with the Jets that he'll never want to remember when he goes into the Hall of Fame. He'll just say, please don't mention that. Now he's with Pittsburgh, and he had his best game since Green Bay. Threw 5 touchdowns. Is it 5, right? Am I right about that, Sam? I don't want to screw this up, too. 4 touchdown passes. Yeah, screwed up again. 4 touchdown passes against the New York Jets. Buy or sell, Aaron Rodgers will finish the season as a QB1 in a 12-team league, top 12 fantasy quarterback. Buy or sell.
You know, the cop-out here is he stays healthy at Jets, right? He'll do it. It's not asking a lot, top 12. Purdy's already not going to be top 12, right? He's already going to miss this week, probably another week, maybe as much as 5, they've said. So you knock him out there. There'll be other quarterbacks that get hurt, so you knock them out. I don't think he'd ever get top 5, top 6, top 8. But the 9 to 12, I hate to say it, he wasn't bad last year with the Jets, right? They didn't win games, but he wasn't bad. He had it when he played. He was a good, solid quarterback. You know, he can still sling it. He still can. I'm the first to admit those 4 touchdowns. It wasn't like he had a monster game. A couple of his interceptions were dropped. You know, that should have been picked off there. It seems like passes he did complete were for touchdowns. A couple of breakdowns by the Jets as well. So I don't see him really as going to win a league for you. But I'm going to buy this. If he stays healthy, hell, just give me 15 games. And I think he could be top 12. So I'll buy this.
I'm going to sell it. Yeah. I mean, games against the Browns and games against the Ravens. And look, I don't know if the Jets defense is as bad as they've showed. If it is, then this may be his best game of the season. So, yeah, I'm going to sell. I think he's on the outside of this looking in.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Oh, everybody's rising and grinding on the early line. Action-packed hour number 1. Even more action-packed in hour number 2. If you're just getting your day started, maybe you're waking up a little bit late because you did stay up late night to watch a non-NBA 10 o'clock game, which got played in the NFL between the Chargers and the Raiders. Did you watch game number 1, an exciting comeback for Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Did you stay up late on the East Coast if you're a Phillies fan? I didn't, to watch the Philadelphia Phillies clinch against the Los Angeles Dodgers last night and maybe being able to track down that number 1 overall seed in the National League. So many hot topics to get to, so much fun, which is what Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri provide to you each and every morning, Monday through Friday, right here on the SportsGrid Network. The energy for you to start your day so you can show up, Joe, at the water cooler and sound like an expert. That's our goal.
That is what it is all about. No need for you to have to stay up and watch Geno Smith wear a Charger jerseys. Ooh. We did that for you, so now we can explain it all to you.
Exactly. You want to show up at the water cooler and say, Donnie told you to take the Yankees team total over 4.5 last night. You show up and tell the people like that. You wear that loss proudly here. Tonight, we're going to bounce back at the end of the show. Make sure you stay tuned for Bye. But in the meantime, the hottest sports topics across the landscape in the 7 and 7 does deal with the football games last night, and that includes those Los Angeles Chargers 20-9 victory over the Las Vegas Raiders. Game started right away with an interception from Geno Smith. And I know it's not supposed to be a black cloud, like, oh, no, we'll get it back. But it seemed like that was a foreshadowing of what was going to take place. Why? Because Geno would throw 2 more interceptions in that game. Quentin Johnston is actually a legitimate NFL wide receiver. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. The Chargers are 2-0, and they're in first place in the AFC West.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it wasn't a clean victory, and it wasn't an impressive offensive performance at any stretch. But when, again, you take on Geno Smith and he can't tell who to throw the ball to, and he ends up with 3 interceptions to the Chargers, well, then he might as well have been wearing a Charger jersey because it was not pretty. And it didn't start pretty either, Donnie, because the first possession, what does Geno do? Drops back and throws an interception to the Chargers. And that is kind of where you thought this is not going to be good for Raider football here.
Some balance at wide receiver, too, for the Chargers. How about 71 from Johnson? How about 61 from the ageless Keenan Allen? Also scored the first touchdown of that game. And then Ladd McConkey, 5 targets, 5 catches, and 48 yards. The one thing that we thought coming into the season was maybe there's a disadvantage at wideout for the Chargers. Doesn't look like it. The running game was supposed to be handled already. They haven't got that on track yet, but still, they are 2-0. Plenty of time for that to work itself out. We love the defense for the Chargers. They were sensational last night, but a big reason is Khalil Mack can really get after the pass rusher. He gets hit with friendly fire last night. Elbow injury, goes out of the game. You see him in a sling. Wonder how long he's going to be out for and how devastating that could be to the Chargers this year, Joe.
It was really a flukish kind of play, the way it even happened there, as it was multiple Chargers trying to tackle a guy, and the way he landed on his arm and the elbow might have been dislocated. It wasn't good, but fingers crossed. Hopefully this won't be anything, crazy long term, that they will be able to get him back, because in just the limited action he has had, he looks a lot more like the old Khalil Mack here in his, Raider days when he was wrecking havoc in the backfield. He was doing that again last night until that injury happened.
Absolutely. No, it was wrecking havoc last night. Baker Mayfield late in the football game in Houston, where Houston desperately needed to get back to 1-1. They dropped to 0-2. Why? A fantastic drive by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to close that game out, with Joe Rashad White slipping into the end zone. Baker Mayfield 25 of 38, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a 2-0 start to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers season.
Yeah, it's good win by the Bucs. They should have won this game a lot easier than what they did. They allowed Houston to hang around this game. Some bad special teams by Tampa set up that go-ahead touchdown by Chubb for Houston. But ultimately, the thing that had kept them in this game, the Texans defense, Baker Mayfield shredded it on that winning drive. 7 completions on that drive, and ultimately they punched it in with 6 seconds left and got the road win. Huge for Tampa to start 2-0.
Huge 2-0, getting the leg up in that division, and certainly in the NFC on another playoff run for the Buccaneers. We'll see if they make it happen here. J.J. McCarthy ain't going on any runs right now. Why? Because he's got a high ankle sprain. Out 2 to 4 weeks, which also the Vikings are likely to be out this weekend without Aaron Jones with a hamstring injury and a plethora of other injuries. Carson Wentz, time for the Vikings. I don't think they saw this coming anytime soon, but here we are.
No, they didn't. But again, maybe, this guy is the quarterback whisperer, right? Look at what he did for Sam Darnold's career. Could this be an opportunity for Carson Wentz, who, by the way, spent time as the backup to, with Andy Reid and Mahomes? So maybe, just maybe, it is time for the Carson Wentz show in Minnesota, but he'll be back, McCarthy. So it'll happen, but it's just an unfortunate injury at this point in the season.
Carson Wentz back as a starter in the NFL. Oh my goodness, could he lead the Minnesota Vikings back? And as we talked about earlier in the show, boy, would it be something if Carson Wentz takes the field against the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what we need. Hey, JJ, take your time, sit it out. Wait 6 weeks, wait 7 weeks, whatever you need to do. That would be some fun stuff here for the Philadelphia Eagles fans. It's not some fun stuff right now for the Commanders fans. They love themselves some Jaden Daniels. They do, and rightfully so. He's a damn good quarterback. But when you have a mobile quarterback with a knee issue, that's never a good thing. It's day-to-day, as they're calling it, with the knee sprain. But that's not nice to hear. If you can't protect yourself in the pocket, you could get injured in the pocket.
No, well, this to me, of all the injuries to quarterbacks here the first couple of weeks, and there's been obviously outside of Burrow, if this is any significant time missed, this is a huge issue for the Commanders here. He is this offense. Everything they do successfully surrounds him. So any time missed, that's going to be a problem for this Washington team.
It's not a problem for the Philadelphia Phillies, celebrating in the middle of the night East Coast time after clinching a playoff spot / NL East championship for the Philadelphia Eagles. Or Philadelphia Eagles, how about that? Football season already. Philadelphia Phillies 6-5 over the Dodgers. Took a lot in that game. Down early, fought back, gave up the lead, got the extra innings, and still won at that point. Your Philadelphia Phillies, the National League East champions, the first team in baseball to clinch a division, Joe.
Yep, it's celebration time. They knew what was at stake last night, and they got it done. Ranger Suarez kept them in the game. The bullpen let them down a little bit there with Duran giving up that tying home run in the bottom of the ninth, but Robertson shut the door in the bottom of the 10th to get it done for the Phils. And now can't wait to see how they play the final 2 weeks of the regular season. Are we resting guys? Are we not?
Yeah.
What are they going to do?
Yeah, the Durantula, as we like to call him in Philadelphia, been really good. Gave up that home run last night, but still the Phillies won, and away you go. The New York Mets, they didn't play last night, but a couple other teams did, which included the Cincinnati Reds, looking to track them down. 3 teams within 2 games of the New York Mets after the Cincinnati Reds come up with an 11-6 victory over the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, the Reds, listen, they're still very much alive, right, in this wild card spot. But given the way the Mets threw that door open and said, everyone, come and join us here, the Reds had a golden opportunity to have a 3-4 game lead at this point in that final wild card. But you know who did take advantage of it? Arizona.
Arizona, could they make the playoffs? That would be incredible. I'll tell you who's looking to make the playoffs and win the division. That's the Houston Astros out there in the AL West. Yordan Alvarez scored in the first inning. Looked like he snapped his ankle on home plate. Just a tough break for them. No pun intended. We'll see what those results come back today. They can't afford to have him out of the lineup. That is the key clutch contributor in the middle for some power. Let's talk some Major League Baseball and handicap. The full card coming up next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Remember these names: AZ Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes one. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with, obviously, Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I was looking at through my phone at first. I'm like, why is there such a delay? And why are we getting pitch hitters right away? Oh, the pitcher got thrown out for some reason. Maybe he hurt himself. But no, turning out and seeing a brawl was absolutely hilarious to let that one play out. Just the way it is sometimes in baseball. We don't get a lot of good fights and a lot of good brawls and anger, specifically from 2 teams that aren't going to the playoffs. So good on them for showing that moxie last time. But it's good to see a little bit of a brawl and a little bit of that passion here.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
If a game is on the line,
give me the Navy kicker.
Oh,
the guy's going into battle in 2 weeks. He can't make an extra point. Come on.
From a mindset perspective, I'm not. Listen, we thanked them for their service. I love them. Okay.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, if you have a bet and you have an academy kicker with a field goal or an extra point, you got to hold your breath.
27 yards. You know,
27 yards. The kid shanked it from like 30.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
You know, you're basically 2 weeks away from the Major League Baseball playoffs here, and away we go into October. And in Philadelphia, we call it Red October. So let's get a look at the postseason picture if the season, Joe Ranieri, ended today. The Philadelphia Phillies would be the 2 seed in the National League. The 1 seed would still belong to the Brewers. They're 1 game apart right now. But fascinating matchups in the wild card round would be the New York Mets versus the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Padres versus the Chicago Cubs. How we feel about that NL picture right there, Joe, if the season had ended today?
It's pandemonium, total pandemonium, anybody's game here, Donnie.
Yeah.
And the fact, and listen, kudos to Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred, right? They wanted this exact scenario by adding another team here into the postseason mix.
Mm-hmm.
We've got meaningful baseball for a lot of teams in the final couple of weeks of the season, where years ago, Donnie, you and I'd have nothing to talk about here because the playoffs already would have been set, and that's the end of it. But there is a race to the finish line with some big market teams, which is exactly what Major League Baseball wants.
Yeah, familiar foes, right, in the NL, which, again, those teams used to being in the playoffs here. We'll see if it goes to big names. Look at the American League. And, again, it is based on 1 year, obviously. And the number 1 seed right now would be the Toronto Blue Jays. The number 2 seed would be the Detroit Tigers. In what world, as we used to say, right? Houston and Seattle would battle in the wild card, which would be a fantastic matchup. And then Boston and New York in the wild card round. Interesting that usually the quote-unquote heavyweights are in the wild card round, and the newcomers, if you will, sitting there at 1 and 2.
Yeah, kind of crazy, right? It's always the mixing and matching some of the smaller market teams, some of the bigger market teams, the guys that you would expect to be there. I think it's great for everybody. And then it, bears the question, too, with some of these smaller market teams, Don, is like, so what is your excuse, Pittsburgh? What is your excuse, Colorado? Like, so you can't tell me you can't win because you can't spend like the Dodgers or the Yankees. I mean, what is their excuse? There should be no excuse.
No excuses except to make more money and don't worry about the product on the field, because as long as we keep our payroll down, the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Phillies on their luxury tax, they'll be able to give us money and we'll be really profitable. And hey, everybody, don't enjoy Major League Baseball. Just come out and enjoy the ballpark, have a hot dog, go home. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Pirates and Bob Nutting. But if we take a look at Major League Baseball today, we had a doubleheader today. One at 1 o'clock, one at 6:45. That is the Atlanta Braves and the Washington Nationals. If I look at it, it's hard to sweep a doubleheader. But sometimes you just take a look at, like, Dane Dunning's not a great pitcher. Hey, just eat some innings for us. Chris Sale is a good pitcher. He's going to pitch game number 2 for the Atlanta Braves. But the 2 pitchers on the mound for the Washington Nationals both stink out loud. That's Irving and that's Gore. Come on now. We might be looking at a sweep for the Atlanta Braves today, Joe.
Well, it was a good one last night. They were able to tee off on some pitching there, the Nats, and the Braves have not been hitting the ball at all, but they did last night. Will that continue into today? I think overs are definitely the way to look in some of these games here, Donnie, in this doubleheader today, because something tells me the Nats aren't exactly going to be held quiet, especially with that bullpen of Atlanta.
Yeah, we need like a 4-3 first game, though, Joe, right? To really tee up that game number 2, because you want bullpen guys that can't be used and bullpens that are bad with the better guys already used up. That's something to watch out for that night game. But not great weather conditions. A little bit of rain in the forecast for game number 1. Wind blowing in both games between 8 to 10 miles per hour. Not the perfect conditions, but you do have bad pitching on the mound, particularly for the Washington Nationals. Let's go out 6:40 p.m. to Pittsburgh, which once again, come see Paul Skeens in this game. They might let him pitch 60, pitches tops, and then he'll dip out, and they'll probably end up losing the game. But Pittsburgh is a favorite, minus 125 or so across the betting landscape here, and a total listed at 7. You know you'll get Skeens for at least 4 to 5 innings. After that, good luck.
Yeah, well, and listen, as good as Skeens has been, Horton has been really good in his own right for the Cubs. This kid has been absolutely phenomenal. And the Cubs, listen, the bats, they're dealing with some injuries. They're not hitting the ball like they hit in the first part of the season. It's kind of been a struggle here down the stretch. I don't know that facing Skeens is all of a sudden going to turn your luck around, but this should be a pretty good pitching battle here.
Yeah, we'll find out. And again, you're looking to lock down that NL Cy Young Award and also not have him go into the 8th and 9th inning, because it doesn't matter. You're done for the season. Have him go out there, no more than 70 pitches here. He'll probably be done by 4 to 5 innings, and away you go into your off season. And then you can lie more the Pittsburgh Pirates, say, hey, we're going to sign some guys, and maybe you'll bring back Andrew McCutchen. Congratulations, Pittsburgh, back to the basement next year at that point. San Diego and New York, that's the Metropolitans. The heat's on. Well, they can't win the division. They know that. They're just focused on making the playoffs now, but they're going to get a test because San Diego also has their eyes on the prize at making the playoffs and maybe chasing down the Los Angeles Dodgers. King versus Holmes on the mound, roughly a pick 'em at a -115, -116 split, and a total of 8. Pressure on the Mets. Do they get it done at Citi Field?
Well, just as much pressure on the Padres, too. It's not like both these teams are playing their best baseball down the stretch here, but Michael King, it's good to have him back in that rotation for the Padres. I think this is his second start off of that second stint on the IL, but we know about Clay Holmes, man. He's slowing down here, Donnie. You know, reliever turned starting pitcher. Yeah, we're starting to see maybe a little bit of fatigue with him. The bats have to come alive for the Mets. Otherwise, that's all she wrote here. I give the advantage to the Padres and Michael King early in this one.
Let's see up another one here. Yesterday, a lower scoring game down there in Tampa, Toronto and Tampa Bay, which saw Toronto pick up the victory, their 5th straight on this season. Toronto going with Barrios today, going up against Pepio. Roughly a pick 'em again. -120 prices have dipped down to right around -110 in a total. Let's hit at 8.5 across the board. Is this win number 6 in a row for the Blue Jays, Joe?
I feel like this is a lot of runs coming. Barrios on the road in that ballpark, hot mess there. Pepio has been known to give up a home run or two here. Feels like we're going to get an over here in Tampa tonight.
I thought we'd get some runs out of the Toronto Blue Jays. They got 2, which was good enough to win yesterday, but a total of 3 runs down in Tampa. We don't like to see that. We like to see those scores and home runs leaving the ballpark here. After the break, we're going to start on the Milwaukee Brewers. Why is it important? They have a 1-game lead over the Philadelphia Phillies, but they are a monster favorite today over the Angels. That Major League Baseball game and much more as we continue our fun video on a Tuesday on the Early Line on the SportsGrid Network.
Aaron Rodgers, 2-year stint with the Jets that he'll never want to remember when he goes into the Hall of Fame. He'll just say, please don't mention that. Now he's with Pittsburgh, and he had his best game since Green Bay. Threw 5 touchdowns. Is it 5, right? Am I right about that, Sam? I don't want to screw this up, too. 4 touchdown passes. Yeah, I screwed up again. 4 touchdown passes against the New York Jets. Buy or sell, Aaron Rodgers will finish the season as a QB1 in a 12-team league, top 12 fantasy quarterback. Buy or sell.
You know, the cop out here is he stays healthy at Jets, right? He'll do it. It's not asking a lot. Top 12. Purdy's already not going to be top 12, right? He's already going to miss this week, probably another week, maybe as much as 5. They've said. So you knock him out there. There'll be other quarterbacks that get hurt, so you knock them out. I don't think he'd ever get top 5, top 6, top 8. But the 9 to 12, I hate to say it, he wasn't bad last year with the Jets. Right? They didn't win games, but he wasn't bad. He had it when he played. He was a good, solid quarterback. You know, he can still sling it. He still can. I'm the first to admit those 4 touchdowns. It wasn't like he had a monster game. A couple of his interceptions were dropped. You know, that should have been picked off there. It seems like he did complete work for touchdowns. A couple of breakdowns by the Jets as well. So I don't see him really as going to win a league for you. But I'm going to buy this if he stays healthy. Hell, just give me 15 games, and I think he can be top 12. So I'll buy this.
I'm going to sell it. Yeah. I mean, games against the Browns and games against the Ravens. And look, I don't know if the Jets defense is as bad as they've showed. If it is, then this may be his best game of the season. So, yeah, I'm going to sell. I think he's on the outside of this looking in.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
We teased you before the break. It's the Milwaukee Brewers. They need a victory. They're one game up over the Philadelphia Phillies, and they are favorite at a minus 270 to minus 275 price, depending on where you're shopping at tonight, as the home team against the Los Angeles Angels. We have Dana on the mound. That total is listed at 8. The one thing we know about Freddie Peralta the last 45 days, he's been stellar, Joe. 1.42 ERA. The Brewers need a win to stay ahead of the Philadelphia Phillies. It's probably easy just to ask you, do they get the win today? I guess they do.
I guess they do. Peralta, a little rough go of it last time out, though, but he has been, for the most part here over the last month, just absolutely lights out. And I expect him to bounce back here. I expect Milwaukee also to score their fair share of runs here, Donnie. Maybe a team total for the Brew Crew here today against the Angels?
Oh, the Brew Crew are always a good option on a team total. For a lineup that doesn't have a ton of power in it, they mesh perfectly together, 1 through 9. Maybe we do. I'll tell you who needs a bounce back tonight, which the law of averages and Murphy's Law always goes this way. Take the Yankees last night on a team total. They don't score a single run. I hate you, Yankees. You are terrible. Hey, Joe, give me a score in the third inning. 5-1 Yankees. Of course, the Yankees would score 5 runs over the first 3 innings and easily catch their team total on the next day after I had them and they scored 0 runs. Schlittler versus Matthews in this game, 977, 978 on the rotation. A 740 start tonight from the Twin Cities and another heavy favorite for the New York Yankees. Line overnight opened up at around a minus 150 price. You know, it's currently over 170 at just about every outlet out there in the market in a total of 9. The Yankees need a bounce back. Heck, anything is a bounce back, Joe, from no runs and 2 hits last night.
Yeah, and, it's unfortunate, too, because Rodon was his usual, good self there, and the Yankees just embarrassing across the board. I like him. I like this kid. I think he's the savior of this Yankees starting rotation with all the injuries they've had to deal with. And yes, Zebby Matthews walks far too many guys, gives up far too many home runs. I think this is a bounce back spot, a true bounce back spot for the Yankees. So I would again go back to laying it on the run line.
Cincinnati and St. Louis here. Kids are back in school. Fans aren't showing up in St. Louis. Cincinnati needs the victory, Joe. Roughly a pick 'em and a total that's listed at 8. Abbott versus McGreevy. Give me the Reds. They busted out the bats last night against that bullpen versus the Cardinals, and I think they'll bust out the bats again tonight against McGreevy. I think I have the better pitcher on the mound and a team that's still striving for the playoffs. Give me the Reds here at a moneyline price of minus 110. Let's go.
You are a brave man, Donnie, because much like the Yankees, that offense is so inconsistent. They'll score 11 runs, and then they'll score 1 run here. I tend to think they're going to get a few more runs here tonight. I am with you, certainly looking at the Reds, but I would probably not want anything to do with that bullpen, so I'm going to take them in the first 5.
How about this one? Texas and Houston need a victory for Texas, try to hang in the race, but also Houston looking to track down the Mariners. You'll like this pitching matchup here. Merrill Kelly versus a guy named Blue Ball. Tough scene.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that one alone and just let you know that Merrill Kelly has been outstanding here for the Texas Rangers. One of the better trades at the deadline, I think, of all of them when it all said and done. But when you consider that, we have missed Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Evaldi, when all the things the Rangers have had to go through, and yet here they are battling. I like Merrill Kelly, just the guy on the mound for the Rangers to get it done here. And, by the way, win the season series, which is a huge tiebreaker against the Astros.
Let's skip over to this game. The Philadelphia Phillies and the Los Angeles Dodgers here. Sanchez is going to be on the mound, the left-handed pitcher for the Phillies. Maybe their best overall pitcher. Shohei Ohtani for the Dodgers. The Dodgers really need this game. The Phillies, yes, they do, because they want to track down Milwaukee, but I would love to see betting statistics of a team, Joe, that clinched the night before and how they perform the next day, particularly against a pretty good pitcher on the mound.
This is going to be Dodgers first 5 for me here. I think Ohtani gets it done. I think that the Dodgers will play from in front. Not a ton of runs in this game, but I think they'll have the lead after the 5th inning in this one.
Yeah, slight favorite here for the Dodgers in this game, and that total at 7.5. I'm interested to see because it does scream under where maybe a Schwarber or a Harper won't be in the lineup. But also understand this. We explained to you that the Philly season isn't done from clinching. Like, we got it all wrapped up, top seed, away we go. They're still trying to fight for that top seed, which is big because that's the difference between playing either the Cubs or the Padres, as it would be today, or getting the Dodgers or the New York Mets, which is one of your rivals here. And he didn't fare too well against the Mets last year in the playoffs. The NFL, the early lines. On the early line? Absolutely. Come on back.
Look at the weather, try to look for some anytime touchdowns or maybe some props that you really feel confident about. But it's always the time for urgency, especially for a team like the New York Giants. I think that defense is something that can give Giants fans hope. And then if you get Dart under center, it's hope. And then if you can get Scatterboo out there and the whole building's going boo, it's hope. And as we know, hope works.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
If you're in the Super Bowl market, if you're in the futures market, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is heavily connected to the Kansas City Chiefs. I am sure it would be Tyreek's first place if he could pick to go back to. At least I would think it would be. And the Chiefs have a need, and the Chiefs are interested, and they're not worried about any of his other question marks.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, Donnie, then you don't believe in face recognition, do you? Because I can assure you. Oh, yes, they do. They absolutely do. They will find that guy in a heartbeat. And by the way, why would you want to go to Vegas? You want to talk about facial red? They won't let you step in a casino. They won't let you step anywhere in
The
there.
Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a punt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Look at headlines in the NFL. We've closed the book on week number 2, and you got to open up the next chapter, which would be week number 3 in the NFL, which takes place on a Thursday night, and it's a divisional battle between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. Now, we're being nice saying it's a battle because the odds makers are saying it probably won't be a battle. Opening number at 9.5, Joe. Now we see 12.5s across the board. Miami and Buffalo, Thursday night. Could be a massacre up there in Orchard Park.
Well, it could also be the beginning of the end for this regime in Miami here, because short week, the likelihood of them getting blown out is severe. I mean, think about this, Donnie. We're in week 3 of the NFL season, and did you see the money line price on the Buffalo Bills? No team should be that kind of favorite in a division rivalry in week 3 of the NFL season. If that comes to fruition and we've got another, blowout, then I think that's when all of a sudden coaching change, GM change, everything begins before they get to the week 4 game. Little extra rest, little time to work in a new coach, an interim coach, because it's not going well in Miami. And this might just be the last place they want to go, Orchard Park, to try and turn things around.
It feels like that game screams over. Not because I think Miami has a great offense. I just think Buffalo can score on anybody. You saw how many points they put up on the Ravens defense, who was a very good defense. You saw how many points they put up on the Jets, who was like, you know what? They probably could have hung a 50 spot if the Jets were actually playing football on offense on their side here. So I see that 49.5 on Thursday night. Usually Thursday night games are a little bit more sloppy, and yes, it is a division rivalry. But in what world is Miami like, let's run the football and slow the clock down? That's not happening here. Like Mike McDaniel, I think, if he's going to go out guns blazing, Tua throw 45 plus times, we'll see where we land in this game, but I think we get points in this one. Philadelphia and Los Angeles, that's the Rams and the Eagles, a replay, or should I say a rematch of last year's divisional battle in Philadelphia in the snow, which saw the Eagles squeak out a victory on their way to an NFC championship game. Hurts versus Stafford. The Eagles open up as a 4.5-point favorite. That's backtracking. We're as low as 3 now at DraftKings, 3.5 at FanDuel, 3.5 at BetMGM, and a total of 44.5. The Philadelphia Eagles offense hasn't been untracked yet. It's pretty good defense for the Rams here. This looks like a playoff preview, Joe. What do you anticipate early in the week?
Well, it absolutely does, and it was actually a pretty darn good playoff game, was it not? I think this is going to be one to watch. Now, again, I will caution folks that be very patient here, because what you are going to get from teams in September has absolutely nothing to do, Donnie, especially two teams like this who are likely heading to the playoffs. This is not what they're going to be come October and November. So whatever happens here, it's likely not going to be a ton of scoring. I think what we got with Kansas City is likely the kind of game we're going to get here. It's going to be slow, methodical, a lot of defense, big hits, not expecting a ton of scoring here.
Let's keep it moving, because leverage cost us another 2-0 versus 2-0 team here for a battle of the AFC West. That's Denver, and that's the Los Angeles Chargers. Bo Nix and Justin Herbert, two young slingers out there, 469, 470 on the rotation. This is a 4 o'clock game and a slight favorite for the Chargers at only 2.5. What gives at this point right now? Are we expecting a big bounce back from the Denver Broncos?
Oh, this is a tricky game, Donnie, because we see it every year, time and time again. Yeah. There is a very good chance, all the things that I am reading and hearing coming out of Denver is that that game and the way they lost that game against Indy is not sitting right with them at all. The problem is, Donnie, that Denver is 1-6 in one-score games dating back to last year, now 1-7. So they tend to shoot themselves in the foot in close games. What are the chances, Donnie, they lose the Indy game again this week? Because that is my fear. They're going to lose one game twice because they're not going to be able to put it together and get it done this week. That's my fear here with Denver moving forward.
Tough scene for the Denver Broncos, but hey, you do have to pick up the scraps and move forward. But you take a look at all that momentum now that you're sitting there with the Chargers. If they can go 3-0 and put even more pressure on the Kansas City Chiefs, we'll certainly find out. Dallas and Chicago, 425 game. Dak Prescott, they looked good on offense last week. Looked really bad on defense. Put out a miracle win over the New York Giants. They're going to face the Chicago Bears, who maybe Ben Johnson's picking up the phone saying, hey, Dan Campbell, do you need an offensive assistant that I can come back to? I don't like head coaching in the NFL, particularly with Caleb Williams as my quarterback. But the Bears are a favorite here at -1.5 and a total of 50.5, Joe.
Yeah, so Chicago, hot mess, getting absolutely ripped by Detroit. And that defense, not very good. But listen, if Caleb Williams is going to have some success, it's probably going to be against this Dallas defense, because if Russ can throw for 400, 500 yards against that defense of Dallas, Ben Johnson should be able to dial up enough offense here. I think this is a dead over, Donnie. Give me the points from both these teams in this spot.
Yeah, nobody's punting, right? It just feels like 4th and 2, 4th and 3. Just let it sling out there. See what happens in this environment. Sunday Night Football. Kansas City, the 0-2 Kansas City Chiefs, head to the Meadowlands to take on MetLife's finest in the New York Giants. Look at this line. Opened up at -6.5. Now it's dipping to 5.5 at a lot of outlets. There's still 6s out there, depending on what book you're shopping with, in a total of 44.5. The Giants looked really capable and competent on offense last week. The one thing that's not capable and competent right now is the Kansas City offense. But is this the perfect tonic for a Chiefs win to get their season started? Or If the Giants knock them off, my goodness, Big Red.
Yeah, this is a unfortunate spot here for the Giants, who, again, Donnie, I worry that the Giants are going to lose that Dallas game twice. Something tells me in that locker room with this that they thought they had that game won, and when they didn't, that might linger over to a very angry Chiefs team that is going to look to get a W here. It would only be the Chiefs for me in this spot.
Monday Night Football. Oh, my goodness. The Detroit Lions taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, you might say, both these teams are actually 1-1, but the offenses should be on display. 51.5 as the total. But I'm telling you right now, I look at that line, and sometimes you could just read lines without handicapping. You look and say, wait a second. Most outlets showing a 6-point favorite for Baltimore. Did you see how Detroit put up 50 last week? That should be an easy. The same way you might have thought that the Cleveland Browns on the road getting 12.5 points after should have beating, coulda, woulda, shoulda, those Cincinnati Bengals. I read this line on these opening lines we're looking at, Joe. Baltimore in a smash job over Detroit. That's how I read that line.
I don't know, Donnie. And the reason I don't know is because that Detroit defense is legit. That is a legit championship defense. We know Baltimore at home is tough. And we know that, of course, Lamar is tough. But, Jared Goff outdoors Monday night, not exactly the greatest track record. But I love this Detroit defense. I think this is a dead under. I think everyone's going to go, you know what? It's going to be points. It's going to be. I don't know. I think this is going to be way more of a defensive battle than people think.
By the way, if you are a dome team, it is still the month of September. 74 degrees, Joe, in Baltimore, expected Monday night. No rain in the forecast. Winds under 5 miles per hour. So dome team outdoors, 32 degrees, wind chill in the teens, and wind whipping all around the field and snow in the forecast. That's not the case here. I do think we get a show. I love the fact that we had a 50 spot put on the board for Detroit, so their confidence is high. But I just look at that 6, Joe, and I say to myself, it feels like a touchdown or more victory for those Baltimore Ravens. I'm just reading lines here, Joe. That's all I'm doing. I'm just reading them.
Listen, it's, again, that means that maybe the market doesn't believe Detroit's offense, or at least somewhere in between what we got from Green Bay and what we got against Chicago. But I think the defenses come out to play in this game.
Absolutely. And by the way, which quarterback's going to come out to play in week number 3? Find out with us throughout the week right here on the early line. Now it's time to have some fun. Adam Kaufman joins the show next. Don't you go anywhere.
Look at the weather, try to look for some anytime touchdowns or maybe some props that you really feel confident about. But it's always the time for urgency, especially for a team like the New York Giants. I think that defense is something that can give Giants fans hope. And then if you get Dart under center, it's hope. And then if you can get Scatterboo out there and the whole building's going boo, it's hope. And as we know, hope works.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
You're in the Super Bowl market, if you're in the futures market, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill is heavily connected to the Kansas City Chiefs. I am sure it would be Tyreek's first place if he could pick to go back to. At least I would think it would be. And the Chiefs have a need, and the Chiefs are interested, and they're not worried about any of his other question marks.
Pro football today, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, Donnie, then you don't believe in face recognition, do you? Because I can assure you. Oh, yes, they do. They absolutely do. They will find that guy in a heartbeat. And by the way, why would you want to go to Vegas? You want to talk about facial red? They won't let you step in a casino. They won't let you step anywhere in
The
there.
Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a punt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
It's a Tuesday right here on the Early Line SportsGrid Network. It's how we do it. We wake up, we get the information you need to know, we pass it along to the public, and sets up your SportsGrid day. It's Donnie right side, it's Joe Ranieri. Now we welcome in Adam Kaufman, who I guess is going to want to appear more and more on the show because when he does come on, it looks like fireworks out there on those handicaps, Adam, huh? Yeah,
I think it's like 7-1-1, something like that on the MLB early line plays. Listen, when you guys get me out of bed nice and early to give you stuff for baseball, I don't know what it is. It hits. I mean, there are no guarantees in this life, but we try. We try. So listen, if you're out there watching, listening, take it with a grain of salt. Don't go putting mortgage payments on all these plays, but these are the ones that I like best.
What Adam's really telling you is press the lever down, ask everybody for money, and lay the wood on these plays tonight as we have some fun. I'll tell you, before we get to Major League Baseball with you, Adam, I mean, big news around the NFL. Like, we're only 2 weeks in, and all of a sudden, multiple quarterbacks are down. None worse than the Cincinnati Bengals, who finally, Adam, opened up at a 2-0 season, and away they go. But they lose Joe Burrow for as much as 90 days right now. How do we handle the situation for the Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah, I mean, we get the Burrow news, and then Jaden Daniels is missing time, and then like it's like in Dumb and Dumber, like our pets' heads are falling off, our QB's heads are falling off. It's weird 2 weeks in. Look, as far as the Bengals, obviously you noted one very important thing, which is they are out to a 2-0 start. So I wouldn't, if you're a backer of the Bengals, be it to return to the playoffs after a couple-year absence, or even be in the fight to win the AFC, especially with the Chiefs 0-2 start, I wouldn't abandon ship. I wouldn't all of a sudden in frustration tear up those tickets. There's a difference between Joe Burrow's out for the year, and we've seen that before a couple of times in his career, versus he is expected back in 3 months, which is mid-December, in time for a stretch run. I think that the Bengals, honestly, Jake Browning, who has been a serviceable backup in his time in Cincinnati and has won more than he has lost and has completed roughly 70% of the passes that he has had in Burrow's absence when a full-time starter. I think Browning generally is going to be fine. Honestly, he showed us something over the weekend in that back-and-forth game with the Jaguars and coming back to win it. Now, obviously, he kind of had tunnel vision for Jamar Chase. I think, what do you have, 16 targets, 14 catches? But who wouldn't? It's Jamar Chase, one of the best wide receivers in all of football. But you also have the other Chase Brown, who can move the chains. You also have T. Higgins. So really, I know a lot of people want to make this about Burrow. I'm not that alarmed about Cincinnati's offense, even though obviously Browning is a step down, maybe multiple steps down. What it comes down to for me, really, the Bengals defense. The defense needs to do enough in Burrow's absence to just kind of, stay in the fight, stay in the dance. You can't go out there and give up 25 points every single game because, no, Browning is not going to be able to cover that. There are going to be some offensive duds. We saw the dud in week 1 with Burrow out there. So these things are going to happen. But, I still think Cincinnati, I had them as a playoff team coming into the year. No real aspirations for them beyond that. But, all right, they're fine to get back to 10 wins. Burrow, obviously, off of what he did last season in this offense, there's so much potential there. If they can right the ship just a little bit defensively, and I do think the first couple games, they've been better than what we looked at throughout last year, I think they're going to be okay. I still think they're in the mix for a playoff spot. And weird things have happened these first 2 weeks of the season to where the AFC is wide open.
Truly is. And it's kind of crazy. But ultimately, it's going to be, can they actually get past Baltimore without Burrow? That remains to be seen there. I got to tell you, nobody has left the keys in the car, opened the back door wide open than the New York Mets, Adam. They have let everybody who was dead and buried a month ago back into the race. And here they are, taking on the Padres tonight. And yikes. And now I believe Holmes is gone, but Manaea is going to be coming in after him. It is a hot mess in New York, but can they win this game tonight against the Padres?
Yeah, you could take the desperation angle really with either side of this game, right? You could look at the Mets and say 1-9 over their last 9. Still, they're in that mix. They have a 1.5 game lead for the final wild card spot. So, sphincters are clenching and they're trying to hang on to this thing. But on the other side, let's not ignore that the Padres, who, they're going to be in the playoffs regardless, but they still want to win that division. They want that first round bye. They don't want to have to deal with that. They're trying to overtake the Dodgers and have limited time to do so. 2 games back in the NL West off of these 2 straight wins where they are right now. And, for me, I don't ultimately know who's going to win this game. This is a lean into the better pitcher in the first 5 innings, take the bullpen out of it. You guys know I like my first 5 plays, and I think Michael King against Clay Holmes and the uncertainty of Holmes with Manaea behind him, as you outlined, Joe, I think King is the spot. King has been a model of consistency. He has only allowed more than 3 runs one time all season. Now, he hasn't pitched all year. I think it's a dozen starts, but nevertheless, one time he's gotten roughed up, and even, roughed up, I think it was 4. Every other time it's usually 1-2 runs. He is very good. Holmes on the other side, very inconsistent. Gave up 4 runs in almost 4 innings, didn't even make it through the 4th. The only time that he saw the Padres back in July, the Mets have lost his last 3 starts. So he's just prone to giving up runs early. So even if the Padres bullpen has a problem and the Mets come back and win this game late, a la the Dodgers last night against the Phillies, I still like the Padres to be in front at the end of 5.
If you take a look at teams that have to win in Major League Baseball, how about Boston and Milwaukee? You don't want to take those heavy price points. So what do, Adam? Put them together, baby.
That's right. At plus money, plus 126 there on your screen for this money line parlay. Now, listen, you could lay the wood with the Red Sox right around minus 150. Take the Brewers out of it altogether if you don't want to go after plus money. I just look at it and say Milwaukee is very good, has obviously clinched the playoff spot. Freddie Peralta is one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. Digging into his numbers, knocked around last time by Texas, but before that, has allowed 1 earned run, hadn't allowed an earned run, in the previous 5 weeks before that start. I mean, the dude had been virtually unhittable. On the other side, the other one is obviously the trickier one, since you have Milwaukee at right around minus 260. The Red Sox, it's Connolly early in his second big league outing. The first one, 5 shutout innings, 12 strikeouts, came against this same Athletics team that he's going to see at Fenway. But after dropping 2 out of 3 against the Yankees, there does have to be an urgency for Boston to get this win to keep its wild card playoff hopes in firm grasp.
He's hot. He's on a run. He's our own Adam Kaufman. Let's get these 5 plays tonight. We'll be right back to close it down on the early line.
They have Boise State, they have Arkansas, they have USC. There's no shot in Purdue. Those are the only big games that they have the rest of the way. They're not getting back into the college football playoff. They're not, Donnie. I don't care if they've won 10 straight.
Remember when they lost to NIU? No way, no care. What happens the rest of the season? They can't get in. Who was in the college football championship last year?
But they had marquee wins at some point
I don't care. They lost to NIU.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I needed a mental break when the season was over. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. You get tired of training. But, man, I never get tired of playing golf. I love it. I mean, every course is different. Every day is different. And some days you're like, oh, I got this. I got it. Then you go out there and shoot a 95 the next day. I'm like, damn.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I mean, I think so. You talk about how difficult it is to bring an expansion team into the league and have success in your first season. That's fairly unheard of. And not only have success, but they're in the playoffs. So I think she certainly deserves to win Coach of the Year. There's a lot of different candidates that could potentially, you could make a case for them. But I think just with this being an expansion team and how difficult that is.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
it was nice to see that even though they couldn't follow the same blueprint as last season or just the way that everyone thought their offense was going to run this year, Josh Jacobs struggled and Jordan Love stepped up. And if you're a Packer fan, that's what you were hoping to see, is that in the moments where you can't rely on the run, can the quarterback that you invested a lot of money into, now draft capital, putting weapons around him, rise to the occasion, and he did.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Right back out of here on the early line to close it down in style. We got some bets coming up here. We got some polls coming up here, and away we go into the rest of your SportsGrid day. But I got a quick topic to talk about, Joe. Meddling sports owners. There's two of them I saw over the weekend. Number one, Tom Brady with a headset on with the coaches in a booth. That raises eyebrows. But also, how about the Colts co-owner, one of Jim Irsay's daughters, who participates in workouts, team meetings, and has a clipboard and also an earpiece to make sure she listens to the coaching calls on the sideline. Nobody wants that from the owner, do they? I mean, why not just be the head coach then? Why not just be Al Davis and coach your own franchise then?
Yeah. Why is she going to take over play calling duties?
I don't know.
She doesn't like what are you doing here? Now, listen, I appreciate you wanting to keep, your finger on the pulse of what's going on in the organization, because after all, you are writing the checks. However, I don't know what notes, what are you taking? What note? How are you even that's like a different language, Donnie. I don't even know how she thinks she understands what they're talking about is beyond me.
What does she want to be, the next Jerry Jones, just run your franchise into the ground but make a lot of money? I guess, but when you look at the owners, right, you hire people in positions to take care of business. And yes, you are the owner, so they have to be accountable to you, but just like sitting in with team meetings, like every once in a while, hey, let me get the feel of this team here to see where they're at. That's fine. But just being on a day-to-day basis as if you're a coach here, stop the madness at this point right now. Let's get into our public poll here. And here's the reason why. We like to reach out to the public and see which way they're going in a certain direction. Here's our Fade the Public poll. Easy does it, people. If you follow us at SportsGrid on our X account, we ask questions each and every morning, which get released at 6 a.m. Eastern. Where do you want to go in a certain situation? Well, how about this question we asked today? Who will win the AFC West this season? There's only 4 answers. Why? Because there's 4 teams in the division. Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, and Raiders, all price appropriate. You know I get a kick out of? Not a single vote went to the Raiders at 15-1, Joe. That's respect.
That is mad respect here. I listened. I mean, they've got the leg up here. Again, I would not be sleeping on the Chiefs here. This is probably the best price you're ever going to get them at, Donnie, right now, if you wanted to jump in, because it feels like the Chargers are one Justin Herbert injury away from not being at the top of that poll question here. So I would still go with the Chiefs until we see otherwise.
Yeah, I went Chargers plus 105. Just out with the Chiefs, baby, as we like to say. And also, they're going to play the Giants. Can the Giants rise up and get their first victory of the season on Sunday Night Football? We'll find out.
No.
But you know what now we have to do? Give the people what they want. Joe did last night. I didn't. Redemption song for me. It's bye, bye, bye. Hey now, Joe, where are we going tonight? Pick up on a nice win on Monday night, roll it over into Tuesday. What's the deal?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's a great song, and it applies once again here today because it's Paul Skeens Day, ladies and gentlemen. And what do we do each and every week on this show when Paul Skeens plays? We go first 5 under 3.5. And the good news is the guy he's going up against, Cade Horton there of the Cubs, has also been outstanding this season. And Pittsburgh showed how good they are offensively last night when they scored. Let me think about, no runs against those Cub pitchers. Yeah, I don't think it's going to get any better against Horton here. And I don't expect the Cubs to light up Skeens at all. This is a guy, Donnie, that has gone 30 straight starts, hasn't given up a run in the first inning, which really means I just need 4 innings out of him to limit the offense. I think we're going to get that here today. If it ain't broke, let's not fix it. Under 3.5 in the first 5 with Paul Skeens.
I'll keep it simple tonight for me. The Cincinnati Reds and the St. Louis Cardinals. One team playing for a lot, one team playing for nothing. I think I have the better pitcher on the mound today. I'm going to go with Abbott and the Reds on the money line at a -110 price here. Kaufman just came on, said he liked the Reds in the first 5. Let's get a full game victory as well to put more pressure on those New York Metropolitans. So 2 games tonight, 2 baseball shots. Joe's going with an under 3.5 between the Cubs and the Pirates. For me, money line on the Reds at a -110 price. Joe, I'm feeling good. Get the vibes going, the good zen. 2-0 night. What do you say?
I love it here. And if the Reds win, that means the Mets lose. And then, keep an eye on Arizona as well, Donnie.
You can't lose if you watch the early line every single morning. Only winners, baby. It's how we get down. For Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri, the best part about is we will be back early tomorrow on the early line again, Friday, Wednesday.